programs manager for the city of Moose Jaw for a number of years after, 20 plus years at CHAB?
Yeah, just over 24. Started in 1993 in July and ended it just in early September of 2017.
And I can brag about this. There's a number of people that I'm very pleased to say that I hired, and you were one of them.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't thank you for saying you'll take credit for that. Others might not want to do that, but yeah, no. And you know, my whole time at CHAB, I attributed to two things: Rob Carnie hiring me, Barry Weiss not firing me. That's how I was able to be here.
And performed a number of duties for us over the years, starting in the newsroom.
Yeah, I started under you in the newsroom part-time, and then made my way about a year after that to doing the swing shift, weekends and nights, and then doing some promotions, and then backup production, and then found a way to doing the morning show for a few years, and then back to the newsroom towards the end. You know, it came a little bit full circle that way, but yeah, did everything but, you know, sell. There's some things I just wouldn't do.
You're a handy guy to have around. And lots of great memories, eh?
Incredible. You know, you mentioned listening to, you know, the Jerry O'Rocco Day. You know, I grew up in the 80s in Holdfast, listening to CHAB and really started to listen a lot by the time I was, you know, 12, 13. And listened all the time. CHAB was the top 40, was the station to listen to, and Barry Weiss and then and Bryn Griffiths doing the morning show. And like, I won a prize when I was 13. I still remember it. It was during the Stanley Cup playoffs. Guessed the score. I guessed the score of a Flames St. Louis Blues game. Won a prize. Got to come into Moose Jaw. Bryn Griffiths met me at the front, gave me a tour of the radio station, and I think my career path was pretty much set at that moment. It was a thrill.
And in Holdfast, I'm back in the day. I mean, you grew up in, you know, relatively the same era that I did. And you're you know, several years younger, but back in those days, into the 70s and 80s, we didn't have a whole lot of entertainment options. We had radio, and we had some television. We had newspapers and magazines, right? So radio was a big part of your youth.
It was. That's how you listened to the songs that you and your friends were listening to. You had to listen to them on the radio, and you'd try and record the songs on the radio, and you'd get mad at the announcers because they were talking over the start of the songs. You wanted to have it clean for when you played it back, you know. But it's exactly that era, and calling in to request songs, and it was entertainment, and you know, those morning shows too. That, you know, those were entertaining morning shows. And I know you were playing old bits, you know, Chicken Man and those things, and the Jackie Stewart bits that used to be played. I mean, those were it was all part of one big entertainment package that you got, and it was also cool because it was from Moose Jaw, and you were, well, I've been to Moose Jaw, you know, you're from the region, so it was very, very cool to do that. And you're right, it played a large role in the life.
Before you came on the air here, you said you were listening to Fergie Oliver on your way up to the station here. Just before noon, and I remember listening to it. You still got a cassette tape of Fergie Oliver calling a goal that your late father scored.
Yeah, and I think this was back in the 60s that teams could hire the CHAB to come call their games. And the Nokomis Chiefs hired CHAB to come do play-by-play of their provincial final game. And yeah, we have a great, the whole game was on tape, and they did a hockey reunion back in the late 80s where everybody on the Chiefs got a tape, and Dad got one, and yeah, I've pulled out the clip of him calling Dad scoring a goal, which is just really, really cool to have.
Yeah, that's pretty special. No question about that. Hey, we got a message here on text on the Classic Connection. Hi, Rob. Congrats to you and the team at CHAB on 100 years. I'm looking forward to hearing you talk to Mr. Hemingway. He offered me a job in Moose Jaw the day I started on the air in Weyburn. And while I wish I could have been on the air in Moose Jaw, I did meet my wife during my time in Weyburn. So I guess it was meant to play out that way. And that's signed Boz Jr. That's Dylan Bosenberry from up in Craig. You changed his life when you didn't hire him.
Exactly. Well, he won on two fronts. He didn't have to work for me, and he met his wife. Really, it was. He really made out well. Thanks, Dylan.
Dylan also says, for the electric lunch, I've got a request. The one song that no matter where I hear it, always makes me think of all the fun times 800 CHAB provided the soundtrack to. And that's Michelle Pagliaro, What the Hell I Got. Thanks, Rob, and 800 CHAB. CHAB 100, the radio special is on the air today. There's one of your favorite ex-co-workers right there, Craig.
Yeah, still keep in touch with Lori a little bit, and we had some great times. Somebody else I got to hire, actually, and to co-host the morning show. And then the three of us, Yumi and Lori, were all on the morning show at the same time for a period of time, which was just an amazing period of time.
Yeah, that was fun. And then Kim Burley from the Stampeders stole her.
It was, and that was my fault because we started this Supper with the Stampeders promotion the first time they came to Moose Jaw before Lori was here, and that went so well, where a listener got to have supper with the Stampeders and tickets to the show. We did it the second year. I couldn't make it, so Lori, can you host this for us? Sure. And then Monday morning, everything started to change. That was it. She had this look on her face, and okay, this isn't gonna. She's not gonna be here much longer.
She's gone with the Stampeders. She's running away with the Stampeders. That happened with Penny Keurig too. The snowbird stole Penny. She ended up marrying Bobby Reichert, the rooster.
That's
He
right.
was a pilot with the snowbirds and a wonderful guy, and they live a wonderful life now down in the United States. Yeah, there's some really great stories. Craig Hemingway is our guest on CHAB 100, the radio special. 24 years he spent here at CHAB after joining us from his hometown in Holdfast, and now the communications manager with Moose Jaw City Hall. So many stories, Craig, that you and I could share together for hours and hours. Some of the characters we've dealt with, some of the characters we've worked with over the course of the years. We've had a lot of fun, and interaction with the listeners is always fun too. And hey, if you forget a birthday or you write one down and you forget where you wrote it down and you miss it, the phone rings right away. People get angry. And that's happening, and then you feel like a heel for the rest of the day. You got to be on your toes. You've got to do a good job. You got to deliver the goods here, or listeners get angry with you.
Well, and it's a great reminder of how much the radio station means to people, because It means so much to be able to hear your birthday and your anniversary. It means something to have that announced, right? And people are loyal listeners. They're called that for a reason. And if you ask listeners to help out with anything, whether it's the radiothon or community events, they show up, they turn out, and you can't have this station for 100 years without people listening to it loyally, and they want to help out, and that applies to promotions as well. And back when the Rolling Stones came to Regina in 2006. We thought, well, what can we do for our promotion? We got to give away tickets. We're doing that. Well, how do we do it creatively? So we came up with something called Bring Mick to Moose Jaw. We thought, well, the Rolling Stones, they've got the night before the concert, or they were between concerts. That's what it was. They were playing Friday, Sunday, I think. And so Saturday, what if Mick came to Moose Jaw? So it was ask listeners, what would you do? What do you think could get Mick to come to Moose Jaw? And people sent in their ideas for a chance of winning tickets, and so many different ideas came out of that. And one that really stood out was, and it was a phone call I received from a listener who said, what we should do is find an adoptable cat from the Humane Society. We'll name the cat Ruby Tuesday, and then we'll auction the cat to the highest bidder. The highest bidder who gets the cat will actually get to have tickets to the show and have Mick Jagger present the cat to them while singing Goodbye Ruby Tuesday. I was speechless for a couple of seconds. But I mean, when I really started to think about it after I hung up, I thought, well, wouldn't that get all kinds of attention? A picture of Mick Jagger with a cat in his hand singing Goodbye Ruby Tuesday? That may have been the greatest the greatest idea of that whole promotion. So it goes to show you our listeners are incredibly creative, especially when there's big tickets on the line.
Yeah, no kidding. That's a great story, one I'll never forget. Craig, thanks so much for spending part of your day with us. We really appreciate it, and appreciate your 24 years of work here at the radio station, and proud to call you my friend. Thanks, pal.
Back at you. Thank you, Carnes.
Only one thing left to do here.